Time you think that there's an actual investigation into your negative items you're disputing, I want you to remember this video. Now, this is taken directly from proof that the credit bureaus don't do anything, and you can access it using the link down in the description. So here is where Capital One was questioned about their dispute process. So they were asked why they never conduct in-depth research of FCRA disputes, and they explained that the Furnishers procedures were developed in collaboration with the credit bureaus, and that's why they investigate the way they do. We're going to take a look at the bottom. So that was what you described as a representative as verifying? Yes. And what did they say in response to that? Well, I actually followed up with that. DO6, you want us to do that? Or do you want us to do things such as pull statements, etc.? Actually do the research, which would involve CHIA. In each case, the bureau rep said, no, we want you to verify it. We want you to make our system look like your system. So that's what we've been doing. Very, very simple. So they said, and we're looking at page 2 over here, line 15, and they came to explain to my team how to more properly and more accurately work accounts. The cases. One of the questions that I had for them as a manager was, should we verify the accounts? And I even explained to them what my definition of verify is, which is we pull up our system of record, in this case, Unisys or Beast, we look at what the Bureau has sent us on the ACDV, and if there are any discrepancies, we make sure that what the Bureau has mirrors exactly what we have as Capital One have. That's verifying. Okay, so let's go look at what one of the bureaus have to say about investigations. If you think that your actual dispute or any documentation or information is forwarded to the actual furnisher, you're sorely mistaken. A mechanism does not exist to forward the actual documents. We're on page 1, starting right here at the top of this black line. Do DDC employees have telephones on their desk? I do not believe so. As part of the compliance with Equifax's procedures, do DDC's employees telephone consumers as part of conducting a reinvestigation? They do not. Do they telephone creditors, the furnishers, as part of conducting an investigation? They do not. Do they telephone anybody outside of DDC or Equifax as part of conducting a reinvestigation of a consumer dispute? They do not. What about emailing? They do not. They should not. They don't have email. And what about fax machines? They do not have fax machines either. Under what circumstances will a DDC employee forward the consumer's actual dispute or documents the consumer provided to the creditor as part of the reinvestigation? A mechanism does not exist to forward the actual documents. And this is the same process used by each CRA. Their job over here on the right at the bottom, and this is taken directly from TransUnion's manual, says identify the line item, meaning identify the trade line. Open the dispute screen, add claim codes. Boom, it's done. The dispute investigator looks at the consumer's written dispute and then reduces that to a code that gets transmitted to the furnisher. Yes. Does the furnisher ever see the consumer's written dispute? No. Are there any instances in which the dispute investigator would call the consumer to find out more about the dispute? No. And what happens when a dispute investigator gets some type of documentation other than the consumer's dispute that comes from a third party, but that doesn't come from a furnisher? We wouldn't be able to act on any instructions or anything in there. They're not the furnisher of the information. So, okay, what kind of information do the ACDV operators have available to them through the interface of the Odyssey system? Name, address, ECOA, pay history, etc. What about the original application information? That we cannot see in Unisys. All right, is there a reason why your ACDV operators do not have access to all of the other systems that I mentioned, being Tandem, CHIA, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I'll give you the simplified answer. First, based on what my associates do, which is to verify the information, some of the systems that you mentioned there are for in-depth research. My associates do not complete an in-depth research. Well, not only do they not research, they don't investigate, they don't reinvestigate, they don't do anything. The entire point here is that when you dispute, you are literally just sending something in that's going to be converted into a 2-digit code that then goes into the system that gets electronically sent over to the creditor. And I believe over here, it even explains about what mirroring is. So there's no in-depth research, there's no investigation, there's no reinvestigation, there's no none of that. So If you want to remove your negative items legally and permanently, there's a very specific way that you need to do this. And my recommendation would be to check out my videos on eOscar dispute codes, because you need to do the credit bureau's job for them so that it makes it easier for you to get results. All right, I put a ton of links down in the description for you to access, or you can use the link at the top of the screen, schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can do the credit sweep for you.